My name is Jane Irwin. I am the shelter director and I have been here for 35 years. I usually try to be on the computer at home because I have higher speed there, and answering emails, doing surveys, trolling for coupons, whatever is going to help the shelter. And then I usually do that for a few hours and come into the shelter unless I have a meeting or something. Then I do take care of meetings, do phone messages, and then we just go from there, because we all pitch in. We do adoptions, we do cleaning, we greet guests and try to help them, answer questions. We do interviews. We work with a lot of students. We have some community service folks that we work with. So yeah, it's never ending. I think the goal of any humane society is to put themselves out of a job. So there'll be no more unwanted animals, no more lost animals. But the reality of the situation is, we're here to help improve the quality of life for the animals that are in our care. We're also here, a lot of folks have the misconception that a humane society is for the animals. And we are here for the animals, but people come with animals, as they should. You have your normal expenses like you would in a home or any other business. You have utilities, the building itself, insurance, and then of course you have all the staff. You have all the expenses that go with the animals, food, medical expenses, cleaning products, office products, paper, pens, envelopes, stamps, postage in general. So, almost everything you would have in a home with a pet multiplied a bit. We do advertising. For example, we have Pet of the Week pictures in the newspaper, which we've done for, probably 45 years. We also, when we have special promotions, we'll put an ad in the paper, it'll be on the radio. Of course, we use social media quite a bit, just like everybody does, or most everybody does now. We also do old school things. We'll do flyers, because you still get a fairly good amount of response from just a flyer in a supermarket. We have a newsletter that we put out, and so we'll put things in the newsletter. The membership kind of gets first news there sometimes. So we do a lot of different things like that. We also will utilize, for example, we're members of the Chamber of Commerce, so we utilize their avenues of marketing and advertising also. Pets Alive program is a great program. There are several such programs all over the country. Of course, not nearly enough for those of us on this end of the business, but it's also a nonprofit organization, and their sole goal is to spay and neuter as many pets as possible. They do private citizens' pets, they do pets for shelters, rescues, for the public. I have a friend who's, I'm actually not real sure how many dogs and cats she's driven herself over to Bloomington. That's why it happens to be Bloomington. But they do it at a very minimal cost. They are not there to take the place of a person's private veterinarian. Although they do have a vaccination clinic once a week, and then obviously the surgeries, but they don't have a full-time clinic. So their main goal is to help folks get their animals altered and help not just reduce pet a lot of folks think that the whole point is just to reduce pet population. Of course, that's a major part of it, but it's not the only thing. You can't have cancer in an organ you don't have. It tends to make a healthier pet, a pet that will tend to stay home more. So it just makes a whole safer, healthier relationship. And Pets Alive is a huge part of that. There are a lot of folks that wouldn't be able to have their animals altered if it weren't for organizations like Pets Alive. Yes, as a matter of fact, June 1st we're having a big adopt-a-thon. It's called 101, and we're trying to adopt 100 cats in one day. So we're kind of gearing up for that. It'll be at Athens Animal Clinic, and the idea is it's our last June in this building, and June is National Adopt a Cat Month. And so the first happens to be it's the first day. It happens to be a Sunday, and so we're gonna start that month out with a bang, and that's our goal. And everything there is gonna be ready to go. There will be no adoption fee. It's all gonna be underwritten. There'll just be the $20 application fee, and so that's a really big event that's coming up. We always have a Billy Marlin dog walk. That's the first Saturday in October, and so we have lots of good things coming. Actually, those two would eventually even each other out, but reducing the number of homeless animals, it's going to sound trite, but things are a cliche for a reason, because they're true. Education, of course, is going to be helpful. It's hard to believe for some of us, but this time there are folks out there that still believe, for example, you should let a female go into heat at least once, if not have a litter before you spay them. There's a lot of misinformation out there, so that's why education is important. And you don't have to be abusive about it. If you have a friend that maybe they could use help getting an animal altered. Obviously, spay or neutering is going to help eliminate a lot of the unwanted animals that are born, but there's always going to be a need for a safe haven for animals to go to. Things happen in people's lives that they truly have no control over. Natural disasters, man-made disasters where they've lost their homes, their jobs, whatever, and they need some place to go. So there's always going to be a need for a shelter like this, for rescue groups, to be able to take in those animals that are in need, because the folks are in need too, and it's a conjoined package. These animals don't come in with checks hanging off their necks. It's the people who believe in your cause that support you, and that's important. It's not just animals that are important, it's that human-animal connection that's so important. And with all of that being said, that's what ultimately is going to help reduce the unwanted animals, the homeless animals, and by virtue of that, it's going to increase adoptions, just because people will know, that that's what we're here for. These are not the throwaway animals, these are not cast-offs because they're no good. These are just animals that they're ready for their second chance, for their forever home, and I think more and more people are aware of that now, and it'll get better as time goes on, as people learn. Like I said, I've been here for 35 years, and I can attest to the difference in attitude. It used to be people couldn't believe we would charge, especially for the cats. Could not believe that there was any charge for cat, because it was always, I can go to any barn and get a free cat. okay, maybe, but you're not going to get a free cat that's been spayed, tested for flu, FIV, up on all its vaccinations, been wormed, et cetera, et cetera. Through private donations, we do a lot of grant research also. We have quite a bit, we have had several grant approvals that have gone into, for example, the new shelter. Now, not so much in the building of the shelter, but a lot of the, for example, kenneling. We got a grant for commercial washer and dryer. A lot of grants will not donate, but approve a grant for for brick and mortar work, but they will for the substructure for your supplementals, like the washer dryer, big commercial washer and dryer. So yeah, which we do a ton of laundry. So there are things like that have been huge, and there's no such thing as a small donation. We have children that give us $1, and which is awesome. That's $1 less I have to come up with. It can actually vary quite a bit, and it depends on the season also. We've had Januaries where you would think it would be very slow, and we've had 100+ animals brought in. Normal average would probably be between 50 and 60. And in the summertime, it's not unusual for us to, it's not unheard of, I should say, for us to get as many as 160 animals in a month. Of course, compared to some shelters that would get that in a day, that's not alarming. But for no bigger the community than this is, that can be quite a number. So, but it does vary quite a bit. It could vary from 30 in a month to 160. The standard adoption fee is $115. That includes their initial and their booster distemper series, the rabies vaccination, the Bordetella vaccination, any wormings, any flea treatments, the altering surgery, the microchip, any health routine, for the dogs, heartworm test, for the cats, the FELUC, FIV test. Also anything else, like if we suspect Giardia, we'll test for that. For example, in Zelda's case, she had special blood work that was done, and had some x-rays. So, that's all included. It's not like we pass that on to the adopter. But each month, we have a special also. In March, it was any cat with green eyes, and any dog with light colored eyes, since you pretty much don't see dogs with green eyes, but they can have hazel or blue eyes. So, kind of for St. Patrick's Day. We usually try to tie it in with something. In February, it was any cat or dog that was mostly white or mostly red, or a combination of white and red, and there was a special fee for that. We also have other specials. For example, cats that have been here for a year, or dogs that have been here for a year. There is no adoption fee. That's waived. It's just the $20 application fee. So, there are specials throughout the year. This is Chica. Chica is our rotten little dog. She's what, 10 now? Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Well, the new shelter is going to have facilities that we don't have here. It's not really just a bigger warehouse. Those days are gone. Because we could build a shelter that had 200 dog kennels and 500 cat kennels, and once they're full and the 501st cat and the 201st dog comes in there, you're back to base one. You're still full. So, and the days of just warehousing animals are are really done, and as they should be. Shelters and rescues are much more proactive. The public is more knowledgeable about the value and the true blessing these guys are. So the new shelter will be able to have more programs. For one thing, we'll have a surgery room. We'll have a post-surgical room, recovery room, a pre-op and treatment room, so that those places are designated. We aren't trying to like do therapeutic dog baths in the same place that we're doing a regular bath, or then we're going to clean litter boxes, that sort of thing. We'll have a community room where we can have presentations. We can have educational programs for school children. For example, here it's a problem needing to get some of the buses in here because we have a small parking lot and just the one drive. Well, we're even allowing for that. We'll have a drive that will go all the way around for buses, delivery trucks, that sort of thing. So there's meet and greet rooms. So with all that in mind, we're going to be able to be much more proactive, and the public can come in. They can get more questions answered, hopefully, more quickly. And it'll be easier for us to do it together, because it takes a community to accomplish everything. There's no way we can do everything that we do without the community, without the people behind us. No nonprofit can. So that building is going to make it much easier to be able to do that together. Yes, definitely. I mean, we can use more volunteers and workers now. A lot of volunteers do mostly direct animal care, which is what most of the folks want to. But now we have volunteers that don't even know where the shelter is. They just help us at, for example, special events, or they'll help with mailings, that sort of thing, and which is huge. That's a lot of man hours that they save us. So, like donations, there's really no such thing as an insignificant amount of volunteering. I think a misconception is that all shelter people are against purebred dogs. No, shelter people are against indiscriminate or irresponsible breeding. But with that said, there are many, many purebreds that can be found in rescues and at shelters. At one time, and I can't remember exactly, it's been recent, within the last 3 months, we had 46 or 7 dogs in here, 31 of which, I just remember that number, were purebreds. And you can find that, and it goes in cycles. And the reason I'm saying that is because sometimes folks want a purebred. That's not a bad thing, but adopt one. Unless you're showing, there's no reason to pay. First of all, why pay that kind of crazy money? Second of all, going through a rescue or a shelter is actually a lot better. For a good example is I have a friend who always wanted a greyhound, but they had cats. Of course, we all kind of heard the horror stories of how they train greyhounds. Well, they went through a greyhound rescue, and that's like custom ordering a pet. They needed one that was housebroken, that liked to go for walks because they did not and were not allowed to have a fenced-in yard. And they had 2 cats living with them, so they really didn't want the cats to become hors d'oeuvres. So, greyhound rescue, awesome. A lot of shelters and rescues will do that. And that's part of what a shelter's job, or rescue's job, is to help match up the person with the dog or cat. Not every dog is right for every situation. Not every cat is right for every situation. You know, some dogs like kids, some dogs don't. Same with cats, etc. And that's why you're getting all of that knowledge. Even if it's a dog that came in as a stray, you know, the shelter staff observes them. You know, there's going to be, even in a huge shelter, there's going to be caregivers that have watched that dog. They see, you can kind of tell, is this dog going to be housebroken? Is this dog okay with other dogs? Most of the bigger shelters especially, and even we do if we have any questions, they do temperament testing. And so by the end of that temperament testing, they're going to be able to tell you, is the dog food aggressive? Is the dog okay with other dogs? Sometimes you can even tell, is the dog okay with cats? Is the dog, does he resource guard? You know, is he okay with his toys and stuff? Is he okay having his feet handled? Those are all little things that kind of would be nice to know without finding out the hard way. So that's part of adoption, regardless of whether it's our shelter here or a rescue group or another shelter. And that's part of the benefit of adoption, is you get all that knowledge. And this is an animal that you've literally saved a life. Even if you don't adopt from our shelter, you adopt from a different shelter, you've saved a life, and that's important. That's critical. These, you know, respect for life, it has to be all the way. And these guys, you know, deserve a second chance. Pet store pets, true pet stores. Usually those are the #1 outlets for the puppy mill, dogs and cats. And to some extent, not as much as you see in other areas, but in this area to some extent some of the pocket pets, but mostly the dogs. And those are, and a lot of the stories you see on TV, a lot of the horror stories you hear, that's one of the things that is mostly true. That is not a good situation by any stretch of the imagination. And in a pet store, they're there to just make a profit. That's all they're after. I'm not saying that an individual worker in a pet store doesn't truly care about an animal, but their main job is to make money off of that animal. I've been in pet stores where I've heard the sales attendants tell a family with little tiny children and 2 other dogs at home that an Akita was the perfect family dog and the perfect dog with other dogs. Akitas are fighting dogs. They were bred to fight and win fighting bears. This is not a good dog for a situation. And it could have been an error, but she was just trying to make a sale. So that's not, now saying a pet store is not the same as saying, for example, I forget what they call the bigger outlet stores like Pet Smarts, Petco's, Pet Sense. Because they have animals at their facilities also, but if you notice it, usually it's just cats, except for maybe special weekends, and they're for adoption. And it's usually an organization. For example, we have cats for adoption at the Pet Sense store in Seymour. PetSmart stores all have cat adoptions. Petco's do also, and they work with local shelters or rescues in their area. They're always glad to host adoption events from other shelters or other rescues, or the shelter or rescue that's already in there, special adoption events. So that's not the kind of pet store I'm talking about, the big, large outlet type pet stores. I'm talking about the little smaller pet stores where, you know, they're just shoved in there and they're just, you know, usually they have insane prices on them. Like buying a dog or a cat from a pet store is supporting every bad negative thing about pet stores. And there are many pet stores that are lovely shops, truly are, but those are usually not the ones that are, you know, small independent pet stores. Those are usually not the ones that are so good.
My name is Carrie Cooper of Eastside Veterinary Hospital. I'm going to talk to you today about spaying and neutering your pets and the problems with puppy mills. Spaying and neutering refers to removing the sex glands of males and females. This picture demonstrates what you're talking about with the girls. Basically, the doctor will make an incision and we remove not only the uterus but the ovaries as well. And of course in males you're removing the testicles. So it's not just a procedure like a vasectomy like they do in humans. You're actually removing both testicles through one incision. Now some of the reasons we spay and neuter pets, I've got this chart here that I've made years ago that I take with me when I talk to students or the public, like at the Bark in the Park. So I'm going to go through some of these reasons with you just to make it clear. Reason number 10 on the chart. Younger pets do better at surgery, they recover quicker. So it's just easier on them, and even it makes the procedures easier too. Number 9, breeding costs even more than having your pet spayed or neutered. Number 8, breeding is much more work for you and your pet. Number 7, for females, spaying eliminates heat cycles and spotting that comes with it. Number 6, fewer visits from neighborhood dogs because pheromones are no longer present. Number 5, males show reduced aggression, anxiety, and roaming, thus reducing the chances of being hit by a car, getting in dog fights, or becoming lost. Number 4, reduced urine marking. Number 3, decreased infection rate because there will be one less organ system to become infected. This is particularly something we see in older females. They can get what's called a pyometra, or infected uterus, which is dangerous and even deadly. Number 2, decreased risk of cancer. We know if we spay females before they go through 3 heat cycles, we can reduce cancers such as breast tumors by quite a bit. And of course, the number 1 reason you won't be contributing to the pet overpopulation. Another thing that often contributes to pet overpopulation are puppy mills. So I want to talk to you about some of the things we worry about with puppy mills. You have to understand that their goal is to produce as many puppies dogs as they can for the least amount of cost. This often leads to overpopulations, crowding at the facilities, which is a good environment for infectious diseases. Some of the things we see problems with, particularly parasites, prozoal infections such as Giardia and Coccidia, we see coming out of puppy mills that you normally don't even see in puppies otherwise. Viral infections, parvovirus. Years ago we see a lot of even things like distemper, and these can all be dangerous and deadly. The other thing is they're not going to pay that much attention to propagating genetic diseases. We know if you breed similar genetic parents, you can get a lot of genetic diseases, and it's just going to make things like hip dysplasia, eye genetic diseases, there are many of them, worse. Other things that are important to consider too, these puppies are basically raised a lot of times in cages or small spaces. This can lead to a lot of behavioral problems because they're taken away from their mothers too soon. They're not socialized around not other dogs but even people. And this makes them for timid pets, and they just don't interact with others well. And of course the main thing we talked about was they're just going to be contributing to the pet overpopulation problem.
My name is Mary Lou Shelley, and I volunteer here 2 days a week, usually Mondays and Fridays. I also belong on the board. I'm the secretary of the Humane Society board, and I've been involved actively out here probably about 4 or 5 years now. Not all the board members, because some of them, they have jobs still, but I'm retired. I'm a retired teacher. I love animals, so I like to spend time with them, and I feel responsible for helping get them homes. It's the governing body for the Humane Society, and I think we have 10 seats. Not sure about that, 10 or 12. Anyway, we have 10 right now, and we make the policies and make sure they're carried out. We organize money drives to raise money for the new shelter.
Operations manager, and I do a little bit of everything, mainly handle the dog stuff from day to day, cleaning, medication, shots, checking, also up on the desk, answer the phone, wait on people, that kind of thing. I started here September of 1984 and have worked here in some capacity ever since then. 9 to 10 hours a day. Well, it's kind of nationally black animals are difficult to adopt, partially because they don't photograph well, and other than that, there doesn't seem to be a real pattern to it. Great big dogs are a little harder just because there's obviously more dog there to deal with, more expensive to feed and care for.
What would you do different if you had more time with the animals?
I'd probably spend more time one-on-one with them, get away from the noise, the chaos of the kennel, see what they were really like, because there are some that just don't do well in the kennel situation. Once you get them out, they're just a whole different, more pleasant dog, and just being able to see that and tell people what they're seeing isn't the real dog. They're not what they like. Cats can have 4 litters a year, and just because people are caring about them a little more, the kittens are are surviving to adulthood. People don't have the ownership of the cat like they do a dog. They see it more as like not necessarily a wild thing, but just, it's just a cat, and they don't take the care to have it spayed or neutered, and then they're making more and more. I don't know if there's any one specific. Internal parasites are usually an issue that we see here, more so in the summer, just because the flea population's higher. Neglect in coat, the carrier dogs, the people don't get them groomed in a timely manner. They get all matted up. Tooth cleaning seems to be an issue also. The older they get, they need their teeth cleaned, and they have mouth infections, not enough food, wrong kind of food, that kind of thing. Well, always money. People with time also to come out and spend time with the animals. Not even just helping cleaning and feeding and that kind of thing. Just to take them on walks, get them out, take them away. Helps with their mental health as well as their physical health, getting them to move around more. Homes for the animals, education to get animals, especially cats. Just because there's so many cats, get them spayed and neutered so we can cut down the numbers that are here. Because I feel like making a difference in, even if it's just one animal's life that day, that there's a need, and that's what I enjoy doing.
Feline Program Manager at the Bartholomew County Humane Society. On a typical day, we always have 2 cat people on staff to take care of. We have 100 cats there up for adoption, but we probably have actually 200 at the shelter that we have to take care of every day. We have to clean each one, their cages, their litter box, their food and water, and make sure they get a little attention every day. So that takes a lot of time, and it's an all-day job, even with 2 people there. And then we also have to, of course, help people if they come in and they want to adopt a kitty, or if they have questions or anything like that. We also have to help with medicating the cats every day, and managing, their illness or anything, keeping an eye out for certain things, which for all the cats, which is a lot of work. We have a few different websites and Facebook. We've tried to get online as much as we can. We try to have our pets posted online, so a lot of people can, see what we have before coming out to the shelter. I manage a lot of those sites, and we try to keep them updated, but with so many animals, we really don't have time to have them all on there. We probably have maybe half of them online that are available. We have 4 different areas for all the cats at the shelter because we have so many. We actually had to buy a trailer to put them in about probably 3 or 4 years ago, just to have more space because we're so overcrowded. The trailer alone probably fits about 70 or 80 cats out there, so that's a big help that we got that. And of course we're going to be building a new shelter that hopefully will accommodate more cats, and it will also have a viewing area where you can actually spend some one-on-one time with the cats in a room by yourself, which is very nice. We're going to have a big cat adoption event to try to find a bunch of cats new homes. because we're so overcrowded. We're trying to find homes for 100 cats, that's our goal. And we're going to waive the adoption fee, so it's just going to be a $20 application fee to be able to send them home, and they'll be spayed and neutered, vaccinated, and all that. So we're really excited to have this big event, and hopefully it will make a big difference, and we can continue that flow of cats getting homes as we get into the new, bigger shelter. He is a rescue kitty from the shelter. He was born without eyes, and we fostered him for a little while and just ended up keeping him, and that was 4 years ago. He has some medical issues that may or may not have something to do with his birth defect. He has some ulcer and stomach gas issues. But he gets around fine. He lives a pretty normal life. He just has to have medicine every day, multiple times a day. But he likes to go places and meet new people. Oh. He's a sweetheart. He's the one that we take out the most because he adapts really well to things. He doesn't get spooked as easily as the other cats because he can't see stuff. Huh. Is that right? That'll be cute. This is Jonathan over here in the window. I don't know if you can see him. This is Jonathan. He'll be a year old next month. And he also has medical issues. He was an orphan kitten. His mom got hit by a car, and a lady bottle fed him for a while, and then took him to the shelter because she couldn't keep him. And then we took him in because he was having anxiety and separation issues at the shelter. And then we found out that he has a rare liver shunt, so he also has to be medically managed several times a day, and he's not feeling very good today. So he was just having a little episode before. But he's still a kitten and he knows it, and he rules the house, and he just does everything everybody else does. And he'll stay little, and he'll always be on medicine his whole life, but he'll still live a good one. Okay. It's okay. Good boy. Ace, that big boy, was our first foster kitten ever. About 8 years ago. He was orphaned with a few of his siblings, and we bottle fed him. And when he was 8 weeks old, he went back to the shelter and went up for adoption. And he sat there for about 8 months. And so I just decided to bring him back home. And he's been here ever since. And I think, oh yeah, he's about 8 years old, 7 or 8. He's usually a very lovey kitty. He just is a little shy to new things.
To tell her everything.
So we're gonna have 6 cats outside.
Lila. Lila. Felicity.
Brittany Hooper, and I'm operation assistant, and I mostly work with the felines and come in the morning and make sure all the food and water is in the right areas of the litter, and then we take the cats out and clean their homes and then put them back, and then in the afternoon we help people look for one to adopt.
I'm Reagan Wellman, operations assistant, feline caregiver, all the stuff that she said. And plus we give medicines and just make sure that they're taken care of and healthy and all that fun stuff.
I've kind of been thinking about the idea of when the people first come in, we have them fill out like a short questionnaire as to if they want a lap cat, a cat that's good with their kids, or just a barn cat or something like that. That way we can better fit them to, narrow it down to like 5 cats for them to look at and see if one of them chooses them.
It's all about matching the personalities of the cats. Yep. We just had a feline leukemia positive cat go home today.
And we currently have a special needs cat. She's special needs because she had to have one of her back legs amputated. So she, as a special, she's marked down to like 75, and she would have to have a house that, doesn't have stairs or that kind of thing. An older couple or, a newlywed couple that would have the time to give her special attention and everything, and be understanding that she, has problems getting around and that kind of thing. We didn't have so many cats. We have like 200 cats, and it literally takes from the minute we walk through the door at 9 a.m. to the minute we leave at 6 to get them all done, if we don't have volunteers to help. So, and since it's usually just the 2 of us here with the 200 cats, that means, each of us technically has like 100 cats that we have to take care of, make sure that they're healthy and that they don't have any abnormalities like a hernia or an ear infection, and it's tiring.
Just having volunteers, if we have a volunteer just to do the trailer, that enables us to finish the garage, ISO, and the cat room. That way we have more time to devote to them, making sure they're healthy, making sure they have their medicine, and just being with them, socializing them. It just gives us time to do extra stuff that needs to be done.
Basically, like I said, we have like 200 cats. So between the cat room and isolation, they're way too small of space, and even the garage doesn't, we can fit maybe 50 to 80 cats in there, but we need somewhere else to go with them. So they decided to add the trailer on to the Humane Society. That way we have a little extra space to, fit them in, and that way we can keep going with our no-kill shelter. That way we have the room, and we wouldn't have to euthanize for that.
And that in the cat room is for adoptable cats. The ones that are in the garage are in ISO. Obviously, if they're in isolation, they're sick. And then the ones that come in the garage they're just getting here. They can't be out for adoption when we're still, health and temperament and everything. So out here, that's another way we can have more out for adoption rather than sitting in the back waiting to be seen.
We have, for example, we got in orphans yesterday. They were around 3 weeks old, and if they were to stay in a cage here, we wouldn't be able to feed them as much as they would need because we'd be working, and then they can also get, severely sick and die because there are so many cats here in one small space, and being, newborns, their immune system is extremely low. So we have to foster them out, that way they actually have a chance at life. And the same with any pregnant cats that we get in that either they give birth here or they're going to. We have to foster them out, and that way it's all about their health.
And temperaments,
Yeah,
the ones
they're-
that need to be socialized.
I've actually had several fosters that have been, I think the oldest one was like 6 months old and came in completely wild. We wouldn't let anybody touch him. You couldn't even open his cage. And I took him home, and he stayed with me for 3 weeks, I think, almost 3 weeks, and he became the most loving cat. If they're young enough that they can have human socialization, they can be in a home and they can see what good people are, then they can come back and be adopted, and that's another great reason to have fosters.
Jason. Jason. Lance. Lance, kitty. Francis. Remy. Remy. Good boy.
I just want to make sure I get this stuff. I might have left it. Easy are they hungry babies? Yes. Yeah. They're Ellen's little foster babies. Hey, look, you're so cute. I know, I don't have any food for you, do I? Oh, I don't have any food for you, do I? I have to cuddle some food because you're starving. Are you starving? Are you starving?
The total. This one's for Lily, the long-haired one, and then the one is for Sapphire, the little Chorty kitten. Pet name is what you are planning on calling them.
And what was your name?
At least any outside of your home that we can reach in case we can't get a hold of you if she does stand back to us.
You get out of the yard?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
There's the copy of your adoption agreement.
Set your cat.
Then the Hoosier Lottery is giving out a lottery ticket for each animal you adopt. So there's 2 tickets. If you want to donate them or if you want to keep whatever winnings for yourself, it's your choice. Here's Lily's rabies certificate. The tag is on the back. We actually, for Sapphire, she actually went through the Pets Alive spay and neuter clinic that we have. So there's their information here. It's basically the receipt that she was fixed, and then her rabies is also on the back. And they're both good for a year. They also give out a new parent guide. If you want to flip through it, I don't think they have coupons in them. I'm not entirely sure, but it's got a lot of good information on it as well.
Okay.
And then here is both of their
Most of them are probably still outside.
their
Go out to
microchip,
your left.
temporary
And
microchip
then come back in, there might be a few inside.
If not, it's a good thing to have handy.
Is that what you're, okay.
And then there's also a silver tag in there. That tag is registered to our office. That way, if you have that, something like that, then you can actually register
There are
with
2
us.
huskies out there, by the way. I don't know about them, but.
And then these is for us to keep.
I didn't save them because I didn't know what I needed to bring.
Okay.
You can keep them if you want, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, we can, I mean, if you're willing to give them to us, we can refer people to you, so we have.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. I didn't know if you needed them back.
No.
Yeah.
Lily's surgery went real good then?
Yep, she had no problems, in fact, she was already spayed.
She was always paid.
Yeah, when they shaved her belly, she had an incision scar and she also had a tattoo, so.
She had a tattoo.
That's what they do when they spay. They also rub a little bit of tattoo ink on there. That way, you know, in case the scar does, you know, heal over and everything, that way that tattoo is there, and then they know not to. She's already clumpy, so it's just a safety. Any crate for which one?
Little. They're labeled already.
Okay.
Junior.
Yeah. That's great.
My other cat liked it too.
No.
Is there anything else I need to get up for everyone?
I believe that is it.
I've got our tags, I've got our paperwork.
No, that sounds like your
That
first.
should be it. Okay. And if there's any other questions, I can have my vet call, right?
Yes, either you or your vet can either give us a call, or if you're more comfortable talking to your vet, then you can just give him a call, or you can call us, whichever.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah, you're more than welcome to call us with any questions.
Okay.
Aw, that's very sweet. Appreciate that.
You need to get your door?
I'll just stop.
Okay.